This is Adam Penna, and today we have joining us from ASME, Debbie Holton, who is actually the managing director of all the industry events over there. So very happy to have her here today to talk a little bit more about 3D printing and additive manufacturing and the industry in general, what's going on with the ASME and all of their events and things that are happening. Just very excited to have somebody here like Debbie to talk about things. So Debbie, welcome.
Thanks, Adam. Glad to be here.
Great, great. I know we've both been going through a little bit of troubles with technical difficulties over the last couple of days, and you had a power outage over there, and you're in Michigan, correct?
Yes, Detroit
Yes.
area.
Yes. So yeah, I'm glad that everything's worked out for you and we're able to connect today. So thanks again for rescheduling and making it happen.
You bet.
But good deal. I know there's a lot that's been going on in all of the world right now, but you know, I think in our community with manufacturing and engineering, there's a lot more focus right now and hope that's happening. So that's really what I've been doing, is getting together with people and talking about that hope and looking at the things that people are doing out there to make things better. Because there's a lot that's difficult right now for a lot of people, but at the same time, having a community to plug into and then to work together as a brain trust of making things better. There's no one better than, well, you know, ASME does an amazing job at that. And I just, you know, I'm overwhelmed with the amount of great things going on. I had the pleasure of sitting in a town hall earlier this week where I caught you actually on there also. And just all of the energy behind it. You know, there was a representative up there. I believe she's from Michigan, right? Haley up there.
Haley Stevens. Yeah.
Haley Stevens.
Actually,
wow.
My district. She's my district here.
Oh yeah. I was like, wow, what a great person to have into that spot, because she was just, you know, that's the first time I had heard her speak, and I was just in awe. I was like, oh, she's a representative. Wow, that's so great that's who is doing that up in Michigan. So good to hear your partnership with her and making things happen. And it was also not a surprise, but it was a pleasant surprise to hear your voice pop in on a call in to the show. So that was great. But yeah, I know what's your, you know, everything since COVID-19's happened, everyone's had a different lifestyle change. You know, some working from home, some having to travel. What's it been like for you?
Yeah, so for ASME, you know, we closed our New York office on March 12th, and that's really the last time that I've been anywhere, pretty much. And it was actually really good forethought on the part of the leadership there. I think it saved a lot of people from potentially catching the virus. You know, we have over 200 people in Midtown Manhattan that take public transport and all of that. And so it was really very, very good that they did that. We also have an office in New Jersey, which closed very soon after that, Washington, D.C., and then Houston. Kind of in sequence that way. But, you know, we've all kind of picked up on this working from home thing. And, you know, I was technically based out of my house before, but I know that, you know, I'm always on a plane. I'm always going somewhere. I've always got a meeting or a conference, or I'm in New York working with the team. So it's been strange. This is the most I've probably been home since maybe like maternity leave or something 20 years ago. Crazy.
Sure. Yeah, it's a new and different experience, but I know that things are opening up now across the world and across the country. You know, there's so many things that are opening, but some people going back to work, some people staying home, a lot of changes. But the one thing that I'm seeing that's kind of stemmed up and grown is everyone talking together a lot more. You know, there's a lot more community engagement. I had the pleasure of being invited into a few different groups, even attended a Woman in 3D Printing. It was their first happy hour last night. And they sent out an invite, and I was like, oh, wow, great. I love to be part of that and sit in that. And it was great. Of course, you know, having the hosting done there at like different separate tables, kind of seeing that pop up a lot more, where people can kind of sit together and talk in a group. And then if you get sick of that group, you can go talk to another group. But you know, it's just all the conversations, all the talking. It's a positive thing, and our industry of additive manufacturing kind of supplemented a little bit of the manufacturing efforts out there while things were in pause for a lot of supply chains. And that was a really beautiful thing to see, you know. And so now when everybody's picking up the pace, you know, and everyone's contributing, that's another great thing that I can't say enough about everyone working together and the community coming together. Those are the positive things we see. And ASME has a lot of great things going on with educational programs and events and conversation. So what, I guess, brought you to the ASME over all the years? I know you've done so much great work with American Makes and SME, and now being at the, American Society of Mechanical Engineers. It's amazing. So how did you get there, and what was the passion that brought you to there?
Well, ASME is a great organization, and I think that the people there are tremendous. They're a standards development organization, so a little different than some of the places I've been in the past, but also very committed to their mission is to make the world a better place through engineering and technology. And so there's a lot of really great initiatives that they're part of, very large educational initiative. During the COVID situation that we've been in here, a lot of people were schooling their kids at home.
Yep,
Fortunately,
me
I didn't
too.
have to do that. You were
Yeah,
too.
I
I
did.
didn't have
Yes. Yeah.
but
I have an
ASME made our,
11-year-old, so that's what made that
oh,
happen. It's like,
right.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
actually a blessing to do that, but yeah, it's
Quality time. That you're
exactly.
making memories there.
Yeah.
But one of the things that we did at ASME, and maybe you're not aware, maybe this is something you could use, we had our Inspire programming available, which is an entire kind of object-based engineering type curriculum for elementary and middle school. We
Oh,
made that
okay.
available free to parents if they wanted to use that in their home. There's some cool, some of the like bridge building and egg drop and, different kind of object related things where kids learn about physics and they learn about mechanics and kind of how things work. And it's a really fun program. And we typically work mostly with school systems, but people aren't in school, they're at home. So we made that available, and that was really great. And so the things that ASME does just as a mission driven organization are really cool.
Yeah.
We also have a group called Engineering for Change, where we work with developing economies and trying to drive innovation. We have had a contest recently. It's called IShow. It's like an innovation showcase, but it's for more of your emerging economies like Africa and India. And one of the projects in Africa was actually related to a meter that would go on top of propane tanks, which seems like, well, big deal, right? But a lot of poorer communities, they cook with wood inside their homes. And so the air quality is very bad. And a lot of children and grown-up people too in these communities have lung problems. They have very bad respiratory problems for that reason. And so they just can't afford a whole tank of propane. That's just not how their economy works. And so these folks, this company had actually made a meter that responded to your cell phone, and you could use your cell phone to top up your propane, and you just paid for that amount you needed for breakfast. And that's kind of
Wow.
all you needed to do. And so ASME supported that, not just with like financial contributions and a prize money kind of thing, but also with the engineering and design and manufacturing support for them, to where the company was actually able to commercialize that and make it available. So cool things like that really drew
Yeah.
me to the organization. And they were looking to really kind of establish a more industry-facing events program versus the technical conferences that we've had for many, many years, very papers and scientific findings and research and development focused. And so I was just very happy to be part of that.
Yeah, that's a great reason to be there. I know that there's so many things that ASME gets involved in. So learning a little niche application like that you wouldn't quite think about, that is actually
Yeah.
helping a community again. It's a beautiful
Mm-hmm.
thing, and
Yeah.
little things like that make the community grow in a better way. So yeah, I that's what I was absorbed when I started looking at more into the ASME.org, the website.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be an engineer to be a member. I think that's an important thing to point out. They have the affiliate
That's right.
program there, and it
Mm-hmm.
has a lot of great benefits also. So you could jump in on that side of it. But
Yeah.
yeah, what was it? It's escaping my memory, but was it the IShow or the E-Tech? Was that it? The E-Tech?
E-Fest, our engineering
E-Fest,
festivals.
yes, the
Yeah,
engineering
for college
festival.
students. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got to see a lot
Yeah.
of that, and I guess that was held online this year instead of course, in person. But
Yes.
what an inspirational group. I mean, it's everyone, coming out of the college groups, working on different projects, and different engineers
Mm-hmm.
presenting all of what they've been doing together, and then talking
Mm-hmm.
about working together in their small communities, but then linking into the larger ASME community to make a lot of great things happen. So again, inspiration, just watching all of that and seeing all of these new thought providers and ideas and
Mm-hmm.
ways that we could address certain things in the world. So
Yeah.
kudos on that event, and going digital with it also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we don't have a lot of choices nowadays in terms of seeing people in person. I personally can't wait till we're all face to face again. I miss humans,
Yeah, yeah. So how's that going with the event side of it? Is there a lot of things that you're planning digitally now that were in person? I know, IMTS is even something that was pulled off the plate for everyone in
Yeah.
September. So
Hmm.
what are your plans? How are things looking on your side for the events and the way you're be handling things going forward?
Yeah, well, we call it a little bit of a black swan moment, right? Because
Yeah, don't know.
nobody was really prepared for this either, and so it forced us to really kind of rethink how we were going to engage with the marketplace. And we wanted to make sure and try to still bring people together to get the knowledge out there, especially because of our event AM Medical. It's very medical focused, and that is a very important field right now, and always was, but and always will be. So we did our first virtual event a couple weeks ago, and we were hoping we might get about 1,000 registrations, maybe 600 people. We had over 4,000 people register for that program.
Wow.
We had
Yeah.
about 2,500 people actually come through during the day that we had it. And the cool thing was that it was people from all over the world. So as limiting as it is to not be able to see people in person, now all of a sudden, all this knowledge and education and content is opened up to the entire world. 40% of the people who attended that were from outside North America, which is
Wow. Yeah,
amazing
that's
to
amazing.
me. You
Yeah.
know, one of the cool things was sitting there in the morning, kind of getting ready to open it up and watching the little chat window go. And so people would be like, "Oh, good morning," or "Hello,
Yeah.
Turkey, hello from Hong Kong, we're here in Germany," whatever. And it was the coolest thing. And I'm thinking, it's pretty late at night over in Australia, but
Sure.
they were there, and people wanted to learn and connect. And it wasn't a technologically perfect execution, right? I mean, we're all kind of learning how to use this kind of world that we're in here face to face, but people were very positive about what they learned, and we had about 31 different sponsors that all were engaged, and a lot of them provided content to the program. And we really learned a lot, and we're building that into the next one, and very excited to kind of keep that going.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. That's so amazing that that many people from around the world were able to join. I know it's got to be hard for a lot of these platforms to deal with everyone jumping online at one time.
Oh,
So
yeah.
the technical difficulties are everywhere, but at the same time, it's happening. You can't stop the whole
Hmm.
event taking place and people getting together and moving forward. So we'll all
Yeah.
learn and make it better. That's for sure. You know.
Definitely, definitely. And I think too, people are still learning how to interact in these virtual platforms, and
Yeah.
we've got to kind of walk side by side with both kind of the technology providers and the people that are coming to learn, and kind of help them to connect to each other, whether it's some kind of AI mechanism that helps to match people up, or the thing that kind of is missing from this is when maybe you're just in an elevator and you read someone's badge and you're like, "Oh my gosh, that's you," like we've been talking. And so that piece is still, we're trying to replicate, or maybe that the line at the front of the room after a speaker kind of goes and gives their presentation. So we're looking at ways we can kind of leverage digital to get more people connected that way too.
Yeah, that digital connection is huge right now. Obviously, you can't meet person with a lot of people. So I've had that happen to me even in last night at sitting at a couple of the tables. I was, talking back and forth, and I've been texting with people and sending messages. And then all of a sudden I was sitting across from the people that I had never seen, face to face, but here we are talking, video screen to video screen, and able to laugh and
Yeah.
have a good time. And that's important, we can't all have the human touch right now in person. So as far
Hmm.
as be able to reach out and connect with people, I think it's great that everyone's opening up their video cameras and actually allowing that to happen, and also not being afraid. I think the big thing, everybody was afraid to mess up or not look good on video or what have you. But I've seen some pretty shaky looking videos, but the people, the
Yeah.
message is great. So, who cares? You could do production later. Let's
Right.
all keep continuing the conversation, keep talking, and making sure that everyone's comfortable with it. I know I was even joking with Adam Gambrell from IMTS and AMT about when
Uh,
they first started their daily minute. He was just opening up the computer and kind of like wherever he was talking, and slowly it
right.
progressed into a nice looking setup. But yeah, I didn't mind at all, and I checked in every time just to see what was going on. So I think that's the important thing, is the message, the communication, being there, reaching out, talking to each other, seeing what we can make better as a community. So for that, I'm very appreciative of what ASME does, and all the groups in general. Like you said, there's a lot of things that you support other groups out there too, and everyone's coming together to talk, to open up. Used to be a lot more closed. That's the bottom line. Is that it seems like the communication lines, everyone was holding things very close, and now everyone's very open for the most part on what they can do and how they could help, and asking, how can I help you, and that's a beautiful thing. So I want to see that continue in this world. I think we've kind of stumbled onto the human part of it being digital, which is everyone needs to communicate. Everyone needs to kind of get a connection and try to get moving, and everyone needs help too. You can't do it alone. So it's really nice that at least we have this technology to do this. So anyhow, yeah, I think that's great. I think, so what are your thoughts? I know you're a big proponent of additive manufacturing in general, but what are your thoughts of what's been going on in additive and 3D printing? You had that AM summit that had the focus with 3D printing there. What are your thoughts of everything that's going on currently?
Well, I have to say, first of all, the whole COVID response was amazing, right? I mean, just how everyone just dropped what they were doing and responded to the needs there. I thought that was fantastic and not surprising from a group of people that I've come to know for the last 20 years. And the thing that we did learn a little bit, though, I think, is we have to be better at helping people find their way through the supply chain and find out how they can actually participate. We worked with actually America Makes and the FDA and NIH and DOD and the BHA and kind of trying to help with these idea of validating some of these designs that people could come and use. And I know folks like Siemens and Stratasys and others made their designs available, which I thought was great, just really kind of helping people connect to each other. Because I know there were a lot of folks, even in general manufacturing, that were very excited to kind of tell us what we can do, what can we do, and manufacturing is not quite like a light switch, as we know. You can't just go out and stop making cars and start making ventilators. It doesn't work that well. But over time you can, and with the right kind of participation you can. And I really think some of the things that have come from this for the additive manufacturing space is really that the larger populace kind of understands that this is not necessarily making little figureheads of yourself anymore, or little thing this is useful technology and materials that are production worthy. And we all know there's a lot more to do. We've got a lot more to do to advance the technology and make it more reliable and make it more repeatable and in larger formats and all those wonderful things. But for what it showed, I think, to the world in the last 90 days has been just tremendous, really great.
Yeah, that collaboration, the industry collaboration, and just the openness there of making things happen. Everyone that was so nimble to open up their shops and do something out of the ordinary and just pick up that. Now, you talked a little bit about too what you've been doing with the FDA and actually, going through and certifying the proper PPE and other medical equipment that could be used out there and in everyone's normal life. But is there a resource on asme.org for that, or is that somewhere else?
We do have a COVID response page that I believe it's asme.org and /COVID-19. You can find it that way. And we have links to all the various areas that we've been working with. And then also, I believe it's the NIH that actually holds the designs that have been validated that folks can get to and use. We have actually a 3D repository of designs there for people to use. So
nice. Yeah, I'll have to have a link to that in this particular talk here, because that's a very important thing for what's going on out there to help people and make sure that they have the right equipment to use, the latest approved equipment. So that's a wonderful thing to have. Yeah, no, great stuff happening in the community. I think that it's just been an awesome, an overwhelmingly amazing experience to watch people just open up, talk more, and collaborate together and come up with new ideas. So I'm looking forward to seeing so much more of that. And, so what are your plans going? Do you do anything for fun? What got you through the whole time? Was there something other than working that got you through this whole last?
Yes, of course. Well, it's nice actually to spend some time with your family, to kind of reconnect and figure out what's important in life. So that's been really good. My poor dog thinks he's on the fat farm because he walks a couple times a day now. And, he used to kind of sleep most of the time and be like, okay, what's happening? So spent a lot of time doing that. And, my kids both ended up coming home from college, so they were here. And so we got
Nice.
to, some nice things like that. And, cook a lot of meals at home and spend time doing that. So that's been at least keeping us sane for now.
Yeah, yeah, that's the whole thing too, the family unit. And I know even I talked with my mother who was watching my daughter for the last week. She's been having a good time with her, but they actually went to the drive-in the other day, and I was like, oh wow, so cool that they're opening up drive-ins again, because that was dying or dead for a while. There was just a few left in the country, I believe. So to see
Right.
that's a great family event. I remember as a kid going to so many drive-ins, and to have my daughter experience that now at 11, I was like, yes, taking her to the drive-in. That's so awesome. I can't wait to do
Hopefully
that.
in your pajamas. That's the thing you're supposed to do, is go in your pajamas.
Right. Yeah. You get pajamas, pillows, hang out in the back of the car, make a mess, sugar and stuff gets everywhere.
Right.
But
Popcorn everywhere. Yeah.
exactly. It has to be that way. So I was just happy that she gets to experience that, because she wasn't going to experience that. And now it's happening. So try to
Hmm.
focus on the positive stuff and see, okay, well, at least there's some new things that we could bring back that are forgotten or not used anymore. But here we go, and
Right.
let's have some fun with it.
I think the drive-in we used to go to is now part of the Ford truck plant, the paint area. Actually,
Yeah,
as a matter of fact,
yeah. A lot of
we
them
bring to
don't.
the Ford truck plant in Wayne here.
Yeah. So
So,
what they did, they're actually my mother's in St. Augustine, Florida. I'm in Austin, Texas. So she took her, and they went there, because she usually goes there for the summer for a little while and attends a surf camp. She has such a difficult life, but she
are you
went there.
adopting?
I know, right? It's like that's what I say. I was like, my gosh, this doesn't sound like any of my summers. My summers, they gave me a stick. I went to the woods. I don't know what else happened. That was about it. But yeah,
Right.
she has the life, and no,
That's great.
it was nice to see that and to hear what she's been doing over there. It's a good time. But the drive-in, what they used, actually, I think it was the side of a building, of course, and they just had
Okay. Oh, so
parking
they have
lot.
to make one. Yeah.
Yeah, so they made one, and I think there's not too many in existence, but now they're just putting screens in places in a parking lot where you could pull the cars in, and there's your drive-in.
Hmm.
So that'll work
That's
for.
fun.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
great.
Well, good, Debbie. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm looking forward to seeing everything that's going on with you and ASME, and hopefully we could check in then maybe a couple months and see how things are going.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. That's great. And if anybody's interested, we are doing another virtual event August 11th and 12th. It'll be additive manufacturing for medical, and we're adding aerospace this time. So we're going to bring in some of those really cool synergies between those two industries in additive, but then also the dedicated things that they do very well separately. So it should be a good time.
And they could find that also on asme.org, those two events.
ASME.org. Yeah,
One,
absolutely.
wonderful. Well, thank you, Debbie. You have a wonderful day. Thanks again for joining us.
Thanks, Adam. See you.
All right, take care.